Good morning, everyone.
Morning, sir.
How are you all? How are you all?
Sir. We are fine. How are you?
I am also good. Wait for a 2 minutes. So we will see. Jade, after a long time you joined the lecture, dear. Jade.
Sir, I have gone outside. Oh, sir.
But on Saturday, SS lecture you were there. On Saturday, SS lecture you were there. Now, tell me. On Saturday, SS lecture, you joined the lecture. I know that. Hari Om. Is the board visible, everyone? Is the board visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, our new chapter number 5, the open window, right? The introduction is already complete. The introduction of chapter is already complete. Which are the characters that I told you? Which are the characters, right? So, Mr. Newton Frampton, then Vera, 15 years old girl, Ian Fire, then Mr. and Mrs. Stapleton, Mrs. Stapleton's younger brother, right? These are the characters in this story. Some minor characters also, like that one also. Spaniel, right? Like Spaniel.
Hello.
Yes.
Kapil, sir.
Yes.
जीत विठला पर मम्मी बात कर रही सर जीत कब क्लास अटेंड कर रहा
Ma'am, right now I can use.
नहीं सर आप अटेंडेंस नहीं लेते आप अटेंडेंस हाँ मैं वेडनेसडे को इधर लाइट चली जाती है ना तो वो वाईफाई बंद हो जाता है नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लम के हिसाब से वेडनेसडे कभी कभी होगा
मैम मेरी बात सुनिए आप इस वक्त मैं आपके साथ इसके रिगार्डिंग कोई बात नहीं कर सकता हूँ मेरी ऑनलाइन क्लास चल रही है और ये क्लास रेकॉर्ड हो रहा है
नो प्रॉब्लम सर आई कॉल यू लेटर सर आई कॉल यू लेटर
नो प्रॉब्लम So, these are the minor characters, Spaniel, then Frampton sister, these are the minor characters, while Vera, Mr. and Mrs. Stapleton and Frampton Newton, these are the major characters, right? The story revolves around here only. And as I told you that some of the characters who has a habit to create a story in front of the people and that people also start believing on that person's story. But when we realized, okay, he or she is a fake, that time it was totally delayed. It was totally delayed. Same way here, the story that way, that my aunt will be here soon, Mr. Nuttall said a very confident young lady of 15. Right? So, my first question, who are the introducing characters? Characters in this story. Who are the introducing characters in the story? Tell me. How many? Years? How many years was the girl? Who are the introducing characters? Tell me, who are the introducing characters in the story? Anyone have idea? Anyone have idea, beta?
Sir, what?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, Mr. Frampton Nuttall.
Yes, Herman.
To explain in this.
Huh? What? Herman? What? What, beta? I cannot listen you. Just speak properly, dear.
Sir, now my voice is coming.
What's the problem? First of all, tell me. First of all, tell me what's the problem. Hello. What's the problem? First of all, tell me, dear. Herman, have any problem, dear? Yes, or no? Just tell me, dear.
No, sir.
Then you say that, excuse me, sir. That's why I'm telling you. What is the problem?
Sir, I was asking you that how much you explain.
But means you have to read and I will explain. You will read and I will explain. So, who are the introducing character in this story? Khushi? Khushi?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The aunt, Mr. Nuttall, and the young lady was the introducing character in.
Yes, the aunt, Mr. Frampton Nuttall, and the 15-year-old girl are the introducing character. How many years was the girl? So, in first answers you will get this, that she was 15-year-old girl. Right? It means, in the meantime, you must try and put up with me. And in this time, right, this is the time you have to stay with me and you have to talk with me. Okay? Then, Harsh Kalola, Harsh Kalola, Harsh Kalola, Harsh Kalola, can you hear me, Harsh? Harsh, can you hear me, beta? See, I told that you have to on your mic and you have to read the chapter and I will explain it. Right? That is our strategy. That is our strategy, and from this way we had start in that way.
Sir, may I read? Sir, may I read?
No, I want that Harsh will read.
Okay, sir.
He was present here. Harsh Kalola, unmute yourself and on your camera. Richa Booth. Richa
Yes,
Booth.
sir.
On your camera. Rotate your camera. 180 degrees. Yeah. Start reading. Second paragraph. You have to start reading. Read second paragraph.
I know how it will be, his sister had said when he was preparing to move to this.
Listen to me. Second paragraph. Frampton Nutter tried to say.
Said the correct something with sound.
On your camera. On your camera. Now read.
Some things which should flattered without distressing the aunt who was yet to come. Previously he dropped more than everyone.
Stop. It's doubted. It's a privately the doubted.
The private doubted the aunt who was yet to come more than year. There were those with total storage would too much to have the.
It's not storage, it's a strangers.
To have their neighbors with he was surprised to be underground.
It's underground, beta. Undergoing and not surprised. That is a supposed. The word is supposed. Off your camera. Harsh Kalola. Harsh Kalola. Read. Read. On your camera and read.
कैमरा दिख रहा है?
Yes. Rotate yourself. Start, beta.
Okay, sir. I know how it is. Yes, sir.
Let's second paragraph. Camera.
Sir, right?
No, 180 degree. Rotate your phone. It's okay.
I know how it will be. Star has
Second paragraph. Second paragraph.
second only.
Frampton Nuttall tried to. Frampton Nuttall tried to.
I wonder whether Mr. Love for whom he was writing.
Listen to me, Adi. Page number 48, second paragraph. Frampton Nuttall tried to say.
Okay. Second Nuttall tried to say the correct something which should later get a nice house.
See, off your camera. Now do you understand why I am telling you that on your camera, read this thing? Do you understand better? Why am I saying you? Tell me. Why am I saying Why am I saying you that you have to on your camera and read? Do you know this thing? Why?
Because many money.
See in your classroom 2 to 3 students who read properly. 2 to 4 students, not 3, right? Who read properly. I gave the chance to that one girl, Richa. She make a lot of mistakes. Even Adi also make a mistake. Right? They cannot read very fast. That's why I want that you know that right now you are learning from the home. And I know that you are not paying attention properly, especially for the reading matter. And that's why I'm telling you. That's why I'm telling you that on your camera and read the chapter. But you have a fear that if sir will scold us, then what will we do? Do you think that both the girls and boys read this thing? Am I scolding them? Am I scolding them?
No, sir.
Then I want that each and every student read properly. That's why I am telling you on your camera, and that's why I am speaking your name. Ayan Payak. If anyone have his number, contact to him and says that on your camera and read and come into the regular mode. Don't put himself in hold. Anyone have his number? Anyone have his number?
No, sir.
Because every time he puts himself on hold.
Yes.
Vishwa Bawarwa.
Yes, sir.
On your camera and read the Frampton Nuttall tried to say correct. On your camera and read.
Frampton tried to say the correct something which should filter to nice without despairing the aunt who was yet to come. Privately he doubted
more than ever rather his visit to total strangers would do much to help the nerve crew, which he was supposed to be undergo.
So here's the question, what did Frampton try to say? What did Frampton try to say? Then what did he doubt? So these are the two questions. He says that he tried to say that correct something which should flatter the niece. Flattered means to praise someone to make feel more important to niece without her aunt. It means the girl's aunt not yet come. And he says that he has a doubt. He doubted that I came here for curing my illness. But this place is totally unknown person's place. So they would cure my nerves or not. That thing he has a doubt, and he was supposed to be undergoing, and he was the undergoing slave. Harsh Kalola, on your camera.
Sir, can I read?
Read. Wait a minute, beta. Wait a minute. Ashvi Bhagadia. Ashvi Bhagadia.
Yes, sir.
On your camera and read the third paragraph. On your camera and read the third paragraph. Ashvi Bhagadia, read the paragraph of number 3rd on your camera. Will you read it or not? Tell me. Ashvi, see, I don't like this thing, but I told you. If you are not interested in this study, in this way, so I will not give you the chance. I'll speak, I read and I explain. I will not ask you the question answer also. Do that thing. Do you want this thing? Do you want this thing? See that. No one replied.
Sir, may I read?
Yes, read.
Okay, sir. I know how it will be, his sister had said when he was preparing to move to this little village. You will bury yourself down there and not speak to a living soul, and your nerves will be worse than ever from moping. I should give you letters of introductions to all the people I know there. Some of them, as far as I can remember, were quite nice.
Yes. So he says that I know how it will be. His sister had said that Mr. Frampton was preparing to move to his little village. He says that you will bury yourself down there. It means whatever your fear in your mind, you have to bury yourself there and not speak to living soul. And your nerves will be worse than ever from moping. Moping means being unhappy. If you will not speak to anyone, unknown person, like your fear, right? You are majority unhappy, feeling unhappy. It will not success, right? It will not cure. Now what you have to do? You have to speak with your living soul. And he says that if you will speak, so your nerves will be cured. If you will not speak, so your nerves will not be cured, right? And it will create a critical situation. Even she says that I shall give you the letter of introduction to the people I know there, right? Some of them, as far as I can remember, were quite nice. She said to him that letter of introduction, right? The word letter of introduction. So the meaning of letter of introduction, reference letter. Reference letter. Meaning of letter of introduction, it means reference letter. Right? She said that I'll give you my reference letters, that I know some of the person in that village. Right? They were quite nice also. I give it to you. So do this thing, you take it and go there. Right? Now letter of reference means what? Introduction, it means if you want a job, I'll give one letter to the owner or who is taking your interview, I'll give this letter to him or her and says that he or she is my relative and please don't take her interview or his interview and pass her job. Right? Select in the job. Now what is this? This is the letter of introduction. It means reference letter to know someone. Says that Frampton wondered whether Mrs. Stapleton, the lady from who was waiting with one of the letters of introduction, came into the nice division. Right? He says that, Frampton says that he wondered that Mrs. Stapleton, a lady for whom he was traveling, right? He was waiting from Lady Mrs. Stapleton. So see that previously the name only, that my aunt only this. Here first time the lady's name introduced, it means the aunt's name introduced, the name of the aunt is Mrs. Stapleton and he was waiting for her because his sister gave one of the letter of introduction of her and that's why he came into the nice division. Understood? Understood here? Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Khushi, on your camera and read it. Khushi, on your camera and read. Khushi.
Yes, sir.
On your camera and read the chapter.
Okay, sir. Sir, may I read?
You have to read, Khushi.
Sir, may I read?
What's your name?
Vishwa.
No, Vishwa, you already read 2 paragraphs. Beta. Khushi,
Yes,
are you
sir.
there?
Sir, may I read? Yes. Yes, sir.
On your camera.
Yeah, turbo. Yes.
Read, beta.
Now can I start?
Yes.
Sir, can I start?
Yes, beta.
Okay, sir. Do you know Many of the people round here asked the needs. Hardly a soul said Frampton. My sister stayed here at the rectory some 4 years ago, and she gave me letters of introduction to some of the people here. He made the last statement in a tone of distinct regret. Then you know practically nothing about my aunt? Asked the young lady. Only her name and address, said Frampton. He was wondering whether Mr. Stapleton was married or widowed. Something about the room seemed to suggest that a man usually occupied it. A great tragedy happened just 3 years ago, said the child.
Okay. Still here only. Still here. Right? So, Vera asked one question to him. Vera asked one question to him. Do you know many of people around here? Right? She asked one question to her. And Frampton says that yes, hardly a soul, very few people I know. Because my sister stayed here at the rectory. Rectory means house of the priest, some 4 years ago. And she gave me a letter of introductions to some of the people here. Right? And because of her references, I came here because she gave me the letter of introduction. While he gave this statement, his tone is little bit crackling. Crackling, it means little bit voice showed that he felt very nervous and he made a mistake and he was sad. He was sad. This was the thing. He made the last statement a tone of distinct regret. Then what did he say? Then you know practically nothing about my aunt. Right? Means I asked this, it means you don't know about my aunt. Right? Now see her character. First of all, she create a bound. Right? She make a border. Right? She never attacked directly on the person's mind. Right? First of all, she wants to know about the person's character. Right? She wants to know about this person's character, whether he or she will came into my story, believing in my story or not. All these things you have to say here. She said also, it means when he asked this question, then you know practically nothing about my aunt. And he says that only name and address, Frampton said. And he was wondering, here and there, that whether Mrs. Stapleton was married or widowed. But when he sees the room, that time he suggests, okay, the man usually occupied in this room. It means whatever the rooms is there, right? The structures, what we can say, another things that they have seen, in that matters she believes, okay, these rooms were occupied by the men. And then she starts to narrate the story. Her great tragedy happened just 3 years ago. She said the child. The child says that 3 years ago, my aunt got one tragedy. Jade.
So let's give me chance to.
Yes, sir.
First 3 paragraphs.
Yes, sir.
Paragraphs. On your camera and then read.
Yes, sir. Sir.
Yes, you are visible. Start reading.
He tragedy asked Frampton somehow in full country what tragedies seemed out of the place. You may wonder why we keep the winter right to October and Sunday. Why here saying Frampton, but yes,
So here said what? Frampton, she says that my aunt got a tragedy before the 3 years ago. And he says, her tragedy? Her tragedy? He asked this question. Somehow, in this restful country, spot tragedy seemed out of a place. Right? He says it was a totally restful places. Right? And in this state, in this country, right, I think that tragedies not happen, and very few tragedies that I can heard this. So, Vera asked one question. You may wonder why we keep window wide open on an October afternoon, said Denise. Right? She pointed out this window, which is the direction of the against, and it was a French open window. Right? It was a French open window, and pointing out, says, do you know? You may wonder. In the afternoon, which is an October month, right, we open this window which is totally wide, right? Do you think that why we open this window in afternoon? Frampton says, it is quite warm for the time of the year. He says that it was quite warm, right, for the time of the year. And also says that, but has that window got any to do with the tragedy? And he says that, what is the connection between the tragedy and this window? He asked this question to her. Okay, so here I complete my first portion of the chapter. Don't leave the meeting. I am taking your attendance.
Okay, sir.
So, she said in very tragic manner, right? Ashvi, first of all, I want to ask you one question. Why are you not joining lecture regularly? Tell me. Why are you not joining lecture regularly? Tell me. Ashvi? Huh? You were out of the town. Where? Huh? Why? Why? Your voice is cutting. Your voice is cutting. Now reply. Today's homework that you have to solve scene passage number 1 in your worksheet. What's your homework? What's your homework?
Scene passage 1 in worksheet.
Okay,
Yes.
sir. Scene passage 1 in worksheet. Thank you very much.